club is different, but in the asylum, it's the manager. He has a string of homeboys dealing the pucketees to the party people in the club. He makes the most coin out of this enterprise. His homies will make just a couple of quid on each pucker. His homies are also scoping for other dealers on the block. When the homies have an illegitimate pucketee dealer in their website, they tell the bouncers. The bouncers grip him, nab his stash, and kick him out with a physical warning. Gives the puckeries to their homies, and they knock out to the kids in the club. What's your name? What have you had? Reach for the lasers. Safe as fuck.
We talk to the legends of the creative and entertainment industries. We talk to those on the rise. Lance Dean Anthony Nielsen asks about the highs, the lows, and everything in between. This is Outcast Creative, and this is Industry Interviews.
Hello, welcome to Industry Interview 88. Can you believe since I started this channel in its current form 2 years ago, I've already done 88 industry interviews in addition to all of the other content that we've got on here, Nielsen ratings, the film reviews, plugging people's games and this and that. So don't forget, if you're a fellow creative, if you work in any of the creative industries and you'd like to come on to chat about something, or plug your latest book, game, video, film, track, whatever that may be, music event, get in touch with me via the Outcast Creative Facebook page or via my Twitter, Lance Nielsen WD. Now, I've got a very, very special, uniquely talented individual. Also, I can say a good friend of mine, and it just warms my heart to say that actually, whose music I got to dance to this Saturday. And that'd be about the fourth time I've been dancing to this person's sets. I've also got one of their sets on my iPod. This is my go-to iPod track whenever I go clubbing. So I'm already dancing on the tube before I get to the venue, which is always good. So without any further ado, Edele is in the house.
Hello.
How you doing? How you doing?
How is everyone? How are you, Lance? You doing all right?
Welcome to the Outcast Creative channel. I know you haven't done loads of interviews before. We've already got Ben Neal in the chat watching. So I dare say that means Michelle's there as well. Two of your biggest fans, two of my best mates. We always go clubbing as a group and we always come where you're playing. So, but before we get into all that, I'm gonna do what I do with all of my guests. I'm gonna ask you a couple of quick fire questions. Just to get a sense of the kind of culture that you grew up around when you were a wee whippersnapper.
I'm still a wee whippersnapper.
Well, I mean, you are still very young and youthful. Please also lend me your moisturizer if you want. Yeah, you are actually. You're still very young in terms of your career as well. But when you were a teenager, I kind of get a sense of the kind of culture you grew up around. Okay. I know you're not particularly a film person, but do you remember the first movie that you watched from beginning to end?
I think the first movie I watched from beginning to end was Jaws.
And here is my co-host arriving in the nick of time.
Hi,
Love from sunny
Brighton.
Good.
Sorry about
that.
Charmin, meet Edele. Meet Charmin.
Hi, Edele. You all right?
Charmaine, do you remember what the first movie was you saw at the cinema?
No.
Starts for 10. I'm going to have to hurry you. Okay, we lose. So Edele, you scored a point. Charmaine, Neil, we'll carry on. What was the last film you watched from beginning to end? Either of you. Can be on Netflix. Anything. Any movie that you watch, the whole thing. Alien.
Lion.
Lion. Is that the one with the guy who?
Yes, really. It's a true story. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a good film. I think it has to really get me, like the first 5 minutes, and if it's good, then I'll continue watching it. If not, then it's a no.
Yeah, I thought
And that was a great
fantastic.
film for me. I'm currently watching that one with Demi Moore at the moment, and it's Substance. Have you started watching that? Everyone? It's weird.
It is weird.
I'm halfway through. I think I'm just going to watch it just because it's a bit, just want to see what's going on with it.
Well,
but yeah.
the end is
Have you seen it?
I've seen it. Yeah, I watched it ages ago.
Okay.
That's a hard-hitting movie.
It's a bit strange, but yeah.
Okay, Edele, let's talk music. Can you remember the first vinyl single that you ever bought and the first vinyl album?
The first vinyl single I bought when I started DJing was Tony DeVitt, Are You Already? And I bought that on vinyl. What was that? Sorry. It's okay. And then what was the other one? What single?
Yeah.
Did I buy? I think that what single? Sorry, what album you said? Didn't you? What album?
Yeah, album.
I think that might have been when I was a kid. I think I had something like Kylie Minogue, or I think something like that. My mum bought me it.
I think every girl owned a Kylie Minogue album at some
that was
point.
Probably what I had.
I have never owned Kylie. I've got to say, I've never owned.
Just to be clear,
Kylie Minogue, or Now. It was like a Now Hits or something. One of those used to get on tape. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One of those.
Charmaine, do you know what your first was you ever bought?
The first bit of music.
Yeah.
I bought Faithless Insomnia on CD. That was my first purchase.
That's good tune.
And as the years went on, I went, that was a good first purchase.
Yeah,
good one.
That track was played at, I think, a rain dance in Fabric 2 weeks ago.
Amazing.
Yeah, I always love it when somebody mixes in an old school track, because early dance is very much my scene. So here's a question for both of you, right? Because at some stage, presumably you were both going clubbing. You were both going out on the dance scene. Let's call it the dance scene loosely. Dance, house, trance. Do you remember, either of you, what your go-to track was that would be like, right, I'm on the dance floor. You're there, even if you're in another room and you hear it, coming from the room.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What track would that be for you, Edele?
It'd be Access by DJ Misja. That would be my favourite.
Charmaine?
It's a classic choice, but it was at the time, it was just amazing. Energy 52.
Yeah, it's a tune. That is a good tune as well.
Was at Peach. We used to go running for that one.
That is a good one.
This would be That's mine currently. Back in the day, it used to be Prodigy, No Good Start the Dance. I hear that track opening come on, I'm like, oh my God. And it doesn't matter where I am in the club, I'll be like rushing to get on the dance floor. So, okay. Do you, either of you have a movie that you consider a guilty pleasure that you like watching? It's a go-to film you can stick on and watch at any time.
Blade.
Like I've had Blade. That's a great choice. The first one.
I love it. The first one. Yeah, Wesley Snipes.
Amazing. That's a good film. Mine would be Dirty Dancing, probably, because I love that film.
I know so many production stories about Dirty Dancing. I could talk to you about that for half an hour, about how it nearly didn't get made. And they had to paint the leaves. They had to paint the leaves green because they went 6 weeks over schedule. So they were going around in some of the scenes that were still supposed to be taking place during the summer with cans of paint, and they were spraying the leaves green on set. Yeah.
Wow.
That's mad.
At that stage, that was cheaper than CGI, I guess.
Well, they didn't have CGI then.
We didn't have it,
and the girl, they didn't get on either. They couldn't stand each other.
Who couldn't get on? The two
leading actors. They couldn't stand each other. So everybody thought that film was going to be a disaster, and it was one of the biggest box office successes of the year. So you get all these extra tidbits coming on my channel. For both of you, do you have a TV show that you've binged from beginning to end? Anything?
Oh God.
like some people like The Office, some people like Wire, some people like Breaking Bad. Just to give you a few of the choices.
I think mine would be The X-Files, because I used to love The X-Files when I was growing up.
Oh yeah, I used to like that too.
X-Files, anything like that I used to love. Like,
it's all coming out now. All the stuff about UFOs and all of that is all coming out.
I think it was David Duchovny. That did it for me.
Yes, agree.
Charmin, what about you?
Binged a few recently. My favourite was Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah,
I think I started watching that. Yeah,
it's so good. It's so good. Hilarious.
I think
it's so well done as well.
I think you'd like that show, Adele. All right, quick fire stuff done. See, that was easy peasy. Let's get on to your specific music careers. So, first of all, just to get a bit of background, Adele, what was the zeitgeist moment when you thought, actually, I'd quite like to DJ, and just talk us through how it started for you. Charmaine, you're getting that question next, so you can be thinking about your answer.
Well, it was a very long time ago. I was only like 16 at the time, and one of my friends was really into music, had decks set up in his house, and he was someone I grew up with going to school. And sadly, he passed away. And on the day of his funeral, we went back to his house because we used to go.
Oh, Adele's frozen for a second. I don't know what's happened there.
Direct drive decks, and it was just weird. I just knew exactly how to use them, and my friends were like, "Have you ever done this before?" And I was like, "No, never ever did this before." And then for my birthday, I asked my mum and dad. They gave me some money basically, and I bought some belt-driven decks, and I just practiced. And I was like 17 at the time, and then and that was it. So taught myself on vinyl, and then started playing out when I was about 24. I got approached by a brand called Lifted. And everything was sort of changing at that time, and it was moving to digital. So then I was having to sort of like learn on digital, which was like, completely different and new and quite scary at the time, because they looked like spaceships when they first came out. They were just all lights, and so for me, I used to be so used to like using vinyl, and I really enjoy playing vinyl. I still enjoy playing vinyl now. So, but yeah, that's how it started, and yeah, here I am. That's it. Basically, I just never gave up doing it, and. Yeah.
Charmaine, what about for you? Because I mean, you've not been going quite as long, coming to relatively recently.
You say that. I started.
I'm just going by the drunken things you said to me on the dance floor when we met. So none of those may have been accurate, of course. But
does Adele know how we met? Does she know about your weird memory?
We met dancing at the front at Coco.
But
recently.
Yeah, this was like a couple of months ago.
It was at Tool. It was a
day rave with Tool Room. But the thing is, he said to me, "What did you say? I danced with you here last time." And I thought, I haven't been here for about 20 years. Because I know. I know that.
What?
You remembered me from Peach at Camden Palace 20 years ago.
What? Yeah. That's insane.
That is insane.
Yeah, which is, don't forget, I was sober back then, so I still have all my memories.
That's funny.
Like most people, I was completely sober in the 90s. No alcohol, no nothing. Very boring.
Oh, fair enough.
I did like to dance.
I know, but your face changes over time. Like, I wouldn't recognise people.
I like to think I'm just as good looking now as I was then. Well, I've got much shorter hair, but I had much longer hair then.
I meant me.
Well. You're even more beautiful. What can I tell you?
Oh,
so yeah,
dancer.
So I've been doing this a while. So yeah, but tell us how you started, Charmin, and
So because I was going out clubbing all the time to Peach at Camden Palace and places like that, I couldn't find the tracks that I really loved on CDs. So I used to go looking in record shops for them. And my mates got the wrong end of the stick with that, and really thought I wanted to DJ when I just wanted to have the tracks, to be honest. And so on my 18th birthday, they clubbed together and got me some decks, which was amazing. And then I was hooked. And then I started playing around Brighton. I used to play for Pussycat Club.
I used to love Pussycat Club. I used to go all the time, watch Judge Jules there. Yeah, years ago. Yeah. I love that club.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So Shine could have been playing there when you went there.
Yeah, you could have been.
Yeah. It was about 2004 to 2006. I think I was.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I started going clubbing about from 1998 till around 2004 was like the time, the prime time. I was out all the time. So definitely would have probably seen you there. Yeah. That was such a good vibe, that club. It was brilliant.
So nice.
It was so good. I loved it. Really, really great. Oh, that's brilliant.
You're not the first people to have mentioned that club to me and what a great place it was. I was funnily enough, I was clubbing in Brighton then. So
yeah. Oh right. Yeah. No, it was a real privilege getting to play for them. Definitely. Yeah. So, and then here we are now. Yeah.
So let's talk about very first professional gigs. I'm talking about the first time somebody put money in your hand and said, okay, I'm going to give you a paid gig today. So that's I guess that's the time you become a professional DJ, right?
Yeah.
First time you have a professional gig. First time someone pays for you. So you said that came about as a result of a company called Lifted. Was that right?
Yeah, I got approached by this guy that ran a nightclub called Lifted, and it was all house music. So I used to play house music and tech house, tribal house, all that kind of stuff around that time. But I always loved hard house and trance, and that's what I sort of started out playing on vinyl. But this guy approached me, and I used to play a bit of it. So ended up being a resident for his night, and it just went really well. We ended up doing a gig in Sri Lanka, and it was at Hikkaduwa Beach, and it was to 14,000 people. And I literally just started mixing on these CDJs, and it was so funny. As I went up on stage, the decks blew, and I was like, "You have got to be bloody kidding me!" And it was like this sea of people just like going, "Boo!" I was like, "Oh my God, this isn't me!" Like, it was the condensation, because it was so hot that where the decks had been on all day, and I think they just get wet. They just blew, so they replaced them, and then I went on. But it was just amazing. And as the sun come up, it was just, the sea was like literally here, and there's this like sea of people. It was just like in front of you. I was like, "Oh my God, is this actually happening?" It was absolutely surreal, and I hadn't been doing it that long, and I was really, really nervous. Getting up on there and doing it, and obviously then that happened. It wasn't great, but yeah, that was my probably one of the first paid gigs that I got, and it was actually really good.
How did that issue get resolved exactly?
They just replaced the equipment, like they've got, because obviously it's a massive gig, it's an actual festival. It's a festival. It's called Hikkaduwa Festival on Hikkaduwa Beach in Sri Lanka, and it was just beautiful. But yeah, they just come on and they just switch. I think it was the mixer, and they switched it over, done it, boom, started again. But yeah, it was just quite embarrassing. And obviously no one can really see you. They're just thinking that you've done something to the decks, but I think, yeah, it all worked out in the end. It was fun, but that was,
that's a pretty cool first, pro gig.
Yeah.
Normally people would say, "Oh yeah, it was like this dodgy nightclub in Romford," and I did.
I DJed in loads of dodgy places and stuff like that when I first started out, but like a proper paid gig, that was the first one. So, but apart from that, I played on decorating tables in Brixton and all sorts. It was, real fun back then. But no, that was my proper. I could say that was an actual gig, real paid. Professional.
Okay, Charmaine, what about for you? Same question.
First gig, I reckon. I think it might have been Sugar. Did you ever get Sugar Cube in Brighton?
I've heard of it, but I've never been.
It was like a late bar. It was one of the only places in Brighton that it was at that time open.
Wasn't it in the Arches? Was it in the Arches?
No. It was just a bar down on North Street. But at the time, all the pubs shut at 11:30.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to carry on drinking, you had to go to a club. There was no real late licenses. And this bar was one of the first bars that had a late license, open to about 3. You didn't have to pay to get in. So it was like that it had a real niche of like somewhere to go with music. And so you could hire the upstairs for parties. And I think one of my friends had hired it, and I played. And then the guy that ran it said, do you want to come and play in the bar? And I was like, yeah, what then? And
did they used to hold head candy nights there years later?
Possibly. Yeah.
I think it is that same place.
Yeah, I mean, it's not there anymore.
No, it's not there. No, it's not there at all now, because I went to Brighton not long back, and I was trying to check out all the places that I used to go to, but half of them are gone.
Oh, it's changed so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everywhere.
Like everywhere.
Did either of you ever play at a Head Candy night?
Sorry?
Did either of you ever play at a Head Candy night?
I used to be a resident for Head Candy.
Did you?
Right.
Yeah, for a couple of
Brighton?
years. Yeah, for a couple of years way back. That's when I used to play in Brighton. I played at the Honey Club.
Do you know what's his name? George Powell.
No, I don't know him.
I think he was resident there, is there?
There was a lot of residents. I mean, and also it's around 2004, around that time. So it's quite a while back now. But it was like when Carl Hannigan was there and Phil Faversham used to run it.
Oh, yeah.
It was around that time. But yeah, it was a lot of fun and did some amazing gigs. Traveled quite a lot with them. And it was just, that was amazing. It was when Head Candy, the music was so good then as well. I mean, I'm not saying it's not, I don't really know it now, but back then it was really
so on point, wasn't it?
It was great.
That sound of...
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, they put an album on now, and it's still really good. Yeah, I just think definitely was a good time.
So I know, like Edele, for you, things kind of in this context came a bit full circle recently, because I remember seeing a post of yours. I think it was just after I started following you on social media.
Yeah.
I used to come dancing here. Now I'm playing here, and that was the Peach reunion birthday party at Coco Camden. Earlier this year. Was that the first time you'd played at Coco?
No. I was made resident for Peach 4 years ago, and the first time I think I played there was 3 years ago. We did a gig there, and again, I used to be a club. I used to go clubbing every weekend, and Camden was always like my go-to. It'd be like Sunnyside Up, Peach, Mind Over Matter, all that sort of. Right. That was, the club nights I'd always used to go to, and it's just really surreal to sort of be back there, but also be on the other side of the fence doing these gigs. And I know a lot of DJs that were that side of the fence back then, and I'm friends with them now, and it's just mad, But yes, it is. It's great. I'm really
because when you arrived, I unceremoniously photobombed your group.
Oh, yeah. That was so funny.
And it's the guy who's holding the drink in the white shirt. You probably know his name. I'm not sure that I do. me and him were dancing together before you came in. I don't mean like romantic in a romantic context. I mean, like, me and him were literally like the only two guys on the dance floor, and we were kind of already doing our thing. And then you guys all came in, and I saw you sort of looking around in awe, going, "Yeah, I can't believe I'm about to." And I didn't know who any of these people were. And then suddenly he organised a photo, and I thought, right, I'm getting in this. And I
that's funny.
Was funny.
Yeah,
I didn't even realise it was you until like about a week later. So, and then I've got to say that, like, of all the events I've been to this year, and I've been to a lot, and I've still got, I think, about another 5 to go before I finish 2024. Each 31st was especially good, and there's me and Ben right at the front. Man, we had such a good time. That's when you and Chris Bain, who's also, by the way, coming on the channel for an interview.
Is he?
He is. Yeah, he's agreed. He says it'd be good for him to overcome his fears of public speaking.
You should have come on today with me. That would have been great.
I did actually offer that, but he said, that Edele's going to talk so much, I won't get a word in edgeface.
You probably did.
Not
say
really,
that
Chris.
well.
I'm kidding. But that was when I noticed that you and Chris had really good chemistry together on stage.
Yeah, we're really good friends. We're like best friends, So
no, it shows. I think that's great, because in any creative industry, there's always, it's the same in the film industry with actors and everything else. There's always rivalries, There's always a little bit of there's nothing wrong with competition. Competitive nature and anything creative is good because it pushes everybody to do better. But I always like when people root for each other,
Oh yeah, definitely.
And you can see that with you guys and actually everybody that's involved with Peach. And I've been to the Orange reunion party as well, and Orange was one of the first events I went to back in the 90s, and that was another event that was just, they were both very, very good. orange and peach. So yeah, another question for you both, and this is really a sort of the mixes that you pick, which this is for me is where the creative art form comes in of being a DJ. It's the connection between the music and the audience that you're facilitating. That is a creative art, doing that. So how do you pick that? And this is another thing that many people have often asked in the club. I hear this conversation every time I go. When you've got a lineup and you have a really impressive lineup on Saturday, do the DJs all have a little chat on a group and say, by the way, I'm playing this track, and this track, just so that, because there was one track that on Saturday that got played 4 times. I didn't mind.
In which room was that? What room was that? In the peach room?
Got played twice in the peach room and I think twice in the strawberry room.
Oh, so, right.
And I was there every time, so it's fine.
Yeah, I was going to say that's you just happened to be every time.
Yeah, it happened at it happened at Labyrinth. There was one track that got played, I think, 4 times throughout the night in the different rooms. But yeah, so I mean, do you guys discuss before to sort of like maybe stop too much of that happening? And how do you pick the mix yourself? Edele, you jump in first.
Okay, so Graham and Chris are really hot on that kind of thing. If we've got a gig at Peach, we do send in our playlists prior to it. A lot of the time, we all have our own different styles anyway, so we know we're not going to have that much of a crossover. I'm generally known to play the harder stuff. They put me on towards the end, and Chris is the housey kind of vibe, so he'll do the house set. So we all have our certain bits that we do. We're all renowned for our certain sounds. So, but we do make sure that we don't cross over, because especially in Camden Palace, you've got one room and you don't want to have the same track played twice or 3 times or whatever. So we do try and have, a chat before, or we've got a WhatsApp group we just send our tracks into. I mean, I don't know the thing with Peach and Strawberry Sunday, it's such a big event that I suppose you can't help those things happening. But yeah, I think, we definitely do that just to make sure. Graham's really hot on that, actually. He just wants to make sure that we don't sort of play the same track.
For those people watching who don't know who Graham is, we're talking about the legendary Graham Gold, absolutely phenomenal DJ, and his son Ben Gold is also an absolutely phenomenal DJ. So Charmaine, what about you? What do you pick? How do you pick your playlist?
How do I pick them?
Yeah,
I do a lot by current. I go by stuff that's coming through on the in-flight, and I've got my radio show every week and just pick bits out from there. But I tend to go quite current stuff. Can't really say much.
So you don't do requests, is what you're basically saying.
I do not do requests.
For all people watching, don't do requests. That was always the thing back in the day. I mean, before sort of DJing became what it is now, there'd always be a queue of people hanging around the box, like, can you play this? Can you play that?
There was loads of people at Tool Room, actually, weren't they? But they were all asking for the same track. It was like some Mark Knight track when he was playing. They were all coming up going,
well, they were asking Mark Knight.
Oh, yeah, they had it on their phone.
Oh, no.
I can't remember. Your Love or something.
Yeah. There were people putting up. There was one guy who had that big tablet, wasn't it? And he was putting tracks up and holding it up. Like, play this.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
They'll find a way to communicate with you, even if you build yourself a fortress and lots of walls and security. Someone will still find a way to send you a message. Let you know what track they're. But I mean, presumably it gets shaped by a number of factors, like Edele, you mentioned the type of event it is, the other DJs that are on.
Yeah, and what time your set is. A lot of people want you to just play certain tracks, but you can't play certain tracks if you're on at a certain time. Especially with Peach, we build the sets, so it's all, we start off like with trance, or even like not trance, breakbeat, then it goes into house, then it goes trance, then it goes into harder, like maybe a bit more hard house trance, which is what I normally play at the end. So it's like it's sort of a progression all throughout the day. You can't just start a set in the middle of, like 4 o'clock and then it's banging it out. We kind of like to have a natural build to the end, which is great. I think it's really good. It works. It's always been like that.
I am actually amazed at how seamless and organic the crossover of the sets are between the different DJs. You know, in all the events I've been to, it's very impressive. There's been the odd occasion where occasionally somebody's fumbled, but we won't talk about that. So, but for the most part, oh, by the way, that's not implied at any of my guests that are currently in this program. But yeah, for the most part, it's really been really smooth sailing. Certainly at the events that I've been to. I mean, the other thing as well is about connecting with the audience, connecting with the clubbers. I mean, that's the most important thing, isn't it? Creating that atmosphere, sound, music, lights, lasers, everything that makes for the perfect connection between people and the music.
Definitely.
Is there anything else you want to say about that?
We were there to create a memorable experience, aren't you, for people that are there? You know, when you look back at club nights when you were going, when I was much younger, certain tracks remind you of certain things, certain friends and all that, and you're creating that sort of environment for people. And you know, some people don't go out as much as they used to anymore, so these nights are, you know, I think a godsend for a lot of people. You know, they especially like, you know, like we're talking about the solos group, people go out, they meet people. Some people don't have people, you know, so they go on their own and then they're going to these events. I think you know, it's great, really.
Have you sorry, Charmaine, did you want to contribute anything to that?
No.
Let's move on.
Got nothing.
So Edele, have you seen, there's a fantastic guy that works for Pete called Kuba Lipsky. I met him in the
I do, yeah, he does all our filming. He's amazing.
Yeah, have you seen the compilation he's done of you yet?
Yes, I've seen it, yeah. It's great.
I'll show a quick bit of it here. I mean, it's really quite, it's quite impressive. Yeah, he's a very, very skilled photographer. Now, I'm actually dancing at the front on the right in this clip, but yeah. Honestly, I get chills watching that. It takes me right. I'm right back there straight away.
Yeah.
And I know I've been to a good gig when I'm coming back on the tube and I'm just doing this, like all the way home.
You know you've had a good time.
Usually does mean I've had a good time. Yeah, you know, it's very important, the connection between the people and the music. And I think one of the things that I really like about both of you is I think that you're both, because Charmin and I had a really long chat the first time we met. I mean, you don't really have a choice when you meet me. I talk the hind legs off a donkey. And you're both very authentic people. And I meet a lot of creative people, but in all walks of life, in all actors, writers, directors, photographers, games designers, everything you can think of, musicians. But just because somebody's creative doesn't necessarily make them authentic. And I think that's quite a good quality to have for a DJ, because it gives you a natural presence of charisma with people. I think that's really important, and you both have that 100%.
Oh, thank you. That's really kind.
You get Blue Pete badge, especially.
Thanks.
For that.
I'll send you my address.
It's in the post. Okay, both of you like clubbing as well, right? Yeah,
definitely.
So every gig I've been to, Edele, that you're at, you're always on the dance floor at some point. and I have to tell you now, you're in the time of your life where that's the sweet spot, where you can still be on the dance floor at a gig that you're also headlining at and have a laugh and have a good time. There will come a time, probably for both of you, when you're bigger than you are now. You won't be able to do that.
I'll still do it.
There'll just be a queue of 1,000 people waiting to get a selfie, and it'll be like, look, I want to have a bit of a pop. You know?
Well, I was a clubber. I was always a clubber before a DJ, so I think that's where it stems from. A lot of my friends are, you know, in the crowds. I want to be with my friends. You know, it's like I don't think I'll ever change, to be honest.
No, good. But that's just summed up the authentic part. There you go. So if there's been a lot of conversations I've had with people, in the smoking area and stuff like that when you do about rave etiquette, right?
What's that called? Sorry, rave
etiquette. This is for,
rave
this is for people attending a rave. Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of just kind of, I don't want to sound like their mum, but just kind of the way people should approach things, events of this type. What kind of things would you put on that list?
Who you are? Me or
you go. You chip in one first, and then I'll get.
Rave etiquette. I think most importantly, you need to look out for, look after your mates. Like,
Yeah. 100%.
Always be there for your friends if there's any, not just your mates, but anyone in the club. If anyone's in distress or something's happening or somebody need, I think that's the main thing, really. We're all there to sort of look after each other, create a safe environment for people, and so I think that would be top of my list.
Charmaine, you got one for me?
Yeah, just being kind, isn't it? It's just people not bringing attitude with them. Just going, because it's about having fun.
Just PLUR, peace, love, unity, respect, right?
Respect.
That's it.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I mean, one of the things that I really like about the community of it, and I mentioned this in the blog that I did. I think the second one I wrote about it was I was down the front at I think this was Orange. I've got a picture here, and I didn't know these people before that night. I've been in touch with all of them since, this group, and we all went back and forth for each other with water as the night went on, because I was dancing there for about 5 hours, something like that, and that's a different event. And we all kind of saved each other's spot because we all wanted to carry on dancing together. So we kind of did this in a rota as different people went off to the bathroom and stuff like that. And then, and also I have seen people do exactly what you say. I've seen people look out for people, like, you see a guy or a girl or whatever looking a bit out of it, maybe they're profusely sweating and everything. You've got a full bottle of water. I don't even hesitate. I offer them a tip straight away, I mean, obviously, girls on their own have to be very careful about who they take a drink from these days. And it's an unfortunate modern thing that we live with. But I do think you're probably safer in this community than anywhere else, because there is a sense of people looking out for each other, like you say. What anything else? What other things would you consider good rave etiquette?
Good rave etiquette.
DJs turning up on time, obviously. It's always good.
Yeah, respecting each other. Having respect for each other. DJ etiquette. Turning up on time, things like that. If that's what you mean, then doing stuff like that. That's important. Having respect for each other as well as artists and stuff like that. I think that's important. What else would there be?
Being mutually supportive to the other artists, I suppose, is
100%.
It's always nice when you.
It goes without saying. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen all the time, but yeah.
No, but I think it's very telling because I follow a lot of people on social media, Duncan Disorderly and Bonnie and people like yourself, and it's always nice when Duncan often does a post about somebody else that's been playing at the same gig he's been at. And so and so smashed it tonight. It was great. I was watching them, and so there's often a lot of love from other people that are on the same playlist as you, and I think that's really nice. Not with everybody, but a lot of people really do put that love out there for others.
They're a great bunch. Sunday, they're a great bunch.
Yeah,
people.
Yeah, really nice. I noticed that. Gareth Evans, who's a big fan, and another regular. One Love, One Big Brave Family. So anything else you guys can think of in that respect before I move on?
DJ. I mean, when I suppose like create a safe environment for people, but I think we've sort of touched that, haven't we? Really, with the whole looking out for each other. So being kind and approachable, you know, I think that's important as well.
What's the level of communication like normally between? I've never asked this question before. Between organisers of an event and the security in an event, which is normally a separate company is involved, or it's usually the security is usually the regular security at the venue, presumably. Because obviously that's been in the press recently. We had an incident where
the stuff with
Heaven. I won't go into the details, but people can Google it for themselves. But the thing that got flagged up, this security people have been complaining about this particular security team for a long time. And I went on TripAdvisor, and there are 50 one-star reviews out of 5 for this team.
Oh, that's terrible.
A multitude of complaints. And I have noticed that the more well organized the events that I've been going to, the more respectful and well organized and nice, polite the security people are. I think the security at Coco and Camden are particularly good, particularly respectful. I just wondered if you guys had any thoughts on that.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really deal directly with security. I mean, it's not really my job to do that. I DJ, but that would be more Chris and Graham that would deal with that kind of area. What about when you
used to go clubbing back in the day?
Oh, when I go clubbing back in the day, what my views on security?
Experience in general, I suppose.
I mean, you get good people, you get bad people, and I think that happens. You know, you get some good security, you get some bad security. I think that happens at some events. You know, but I don't really recall anything bad happening to me with any security people or anything like that. I mean, sometimes they're a bit off, but you know, that's about it.
It does feel
you get some people that are really lovely and really approachable, and then other people just, but that's, I think, it's just how some people can be. I don't know.
Sorry, Charmin.
Yeah, I mean, if I think back to DJ, when I was DJing quite a lot around Brighton, I knew all the security teams because it's only like 6 venues in Brighton. So once you've played everywhere, you just get to know everyone.
Yeah, you get
it's different if you're a punter, I suppose, but when you're DJing, it's not really.
I think as a profession, as a profession, it's all a bit more professionally run now, isn't it? With ID and that kind of thing between the different companies, and people have to be registered to do the job, and so it's. I think as an industry, as a sub industry of the clubbing industry, it's a lot more regulated than say it used to be in the 1980s or whatever. So this is another question for both of you. How do you DJ, not exactly sociable hours. How do you juggle work and life balance successfully? I ask all my guests that question. And it's Gail Ann Hurd, who's a big Hollywood film producer, who was on the channel a few weeks ago, said, well, I've been married 3 times, so I failed at doing that. She said, I wasn't very good at it, at juggling. She admitted she was a workaholic. And I think that's always something that's so difficult in life to get right, that work-life balance. But it's easier to get right if you're doing a job that you love. So Edele, what were your thoughts?
Well, it can be difficult. I mean, this year, my gigs, I've had quite a lot of gigs, and I've got a full-time job as well. So trying to juggle the two can be quite full on when you work in a 5-day week and you work in your DJ in a weekend. It does feel like you've got no downtime. And when you've got 4 gigs in a weekend of a month, it's like you've had no break. It does feel like that. But I mean, I enjoy it, and it's sort of my, creative outlet, and I don't know what I'd be doing if I weren't doing it. So I suppose
you'd probably be in the club anyway.
I'd be in the club anyway, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I suppose I've had a couple of weekends off recently, which I've been able to do really nice things, like going to friends' birthdays and do stuff that I wouldn't be able to do if I'm DJing. What people don't realise, you do miss out on a lot of normal stuff when you're DJing, you know, there's a lot of things that you do sacrifice, you know, because you're doing gigs. But I mean, it is what it is. It's I enjoy it and I love it, and it's I suppose that's it.
Charmin,
really.
what about with yourself? Because I know you've got a family and all the rest.
Yeah, for me, it's family more than anything, because I've got the 2 kids. They know, they got trained at a very young age that mum is not good in the mornings, and to be as quiet as possible so I can catch up. So my other half usually takes kids first thing if I've had a late one, and I get to catch up on my sleep.
That's good.
I've got a question come in from the chat from Michelle, who Edele, I believe you know.
Yes, hello Michelle.
Question for both of you. So what are your other hobbies? What do you do in your wind down time? If indeed you have any other hobbies outside of work. Charmaine, do you want to take that one first for a change?
Hobbies. I don't really have a lot of hobbies. If I have free time, I'm writing music. So I guess that's I don't like to call that a hobby, but yeah, it's a hobby, I suppose.
I saw the piano behind. We'll come back to that topic in a second, because that's another question I've got for both of you. What about you, Edele? Hobbies, other interests, just generally?
Hobbies, free time. I try and keep fit. I'd like to think I do, but then I go to a couple of classes and I'm really into it, and then I don't, and then I don't go back. So it's like hobbies, other hobbies. I literally just, it is all around music all the time. If I'm not DJing, I'm always looking for music, searching music, mixing, you know, going through music. Or it is literally, I can't even sit down and watch a film because I'm constantly thinking about something else, like to do with music. Like my husband gets annoyed because he's like, can we watch a film tonight? And then I'll be on my phone and a new track will come through and I'll be like, I've got to listen to that. And then I'll be up here going through. It's always been the same.
Tell your hubby I'll be his film buddy. If
you can. Oh my God, he'd love it.
You both talked about, I mean, that's something else that interests me is how do you, there's so much content out there now. This is with me. I have to keep up with films and TV shows because I do a weekly review show every Tuesday. It's on at 10 o'clock tonight. So I'll be live streaming again at 10. And so I try and watch stuff that I think people are going to want to see. It must be the same for you guys with music. How do you keep up? How do you sort the wheat from the chaff when you're trying to track down new tracks? I'm assuming there's all kinds of things I'm not privy to as not being a DJ, groups and software and whatever. But what is there? How do you do this?
Do you want to take it?
Do you
want to explain in flight?
Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, you mentioned in-flight
music. I mean, when it comes to music and searching, do you mean searching for tracks and things like that? I mean, there's a lot of music at the moment, and to be honest, sometimes I go through music for hours on end, and I'll find like 3 tracks. Though it is, you know, it can be quite painful at times, but I suppose. I just go through playlists. I mean, I do a lot of digging on the internet as well, you know, trying to find stuff on like Beatport and things like that. You do a lot of like crate digging within other DJs' files. I do stuff like that. And sometimes you come up with like a hidden gem and you're like, oh my God, that's amazing. But it can be quite painful at times, but that's how I do it anyway.
I just realised if I move Charmaine and put her up here, like so. There you go. You're nearly on top of your body on the poster. Look.
Like that.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's hilarious. That is hilarious.
That's funny. There we go.
That is good. I still buy vinyl as well. So I'm always looking for vinyl and you know, I've got loads of records and I'm still like, you know, I suppose that's what I do in my spare time as well. I've got a couple of 12-inch Prodigy vinyls in the shed somewhere. I've got a Tony DeVitt one somewhere. Oh, what Tony DeVitt one have you got?
I think it's isn't it his first one? The one he would always play at Heaven back in the day.
What song or?
No, it's quite hard. It was quite hard for the time. Hang on, I'll have to look it up. I know I've got one.
Tony DeVitt's my favourite. He's literally
while I'm looking that up. I'll tell you in a sec. While I'm looking that up, Charmaine, you said that you create music as well.
Yeah.
So
I think.
Do you create some of your own tracks, or tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, I produce as well. So that's something I've got into in the last few years, I suppose. It was a case of playing a lot in Brighton and wanting to get out of the Brighton bubble and kind of move to the next level, and realizing I needed, to produce. And it was actually what I'd wanted to do originally, but it had been really, really difficult. In the early 2000s, there was no YouTube, there was no courses or anything you could do. It was really hard to get into production. So I'd kind of got carried away with DJing and let that side of it slide. So I kind of went back to it in 2012. I went back to college and studied for a couple of years, and yeah, started releasing music about 2-3 years ago, I think.
Right. Well, we'll have to get you back on and play some of those. Edele, what about you? Do you ever create any of your own music? Do you look to that side at all?
Yeah, I mean, I produced a track in the studio about a couple of years ago now. It was released on Saunder Music, and I'm hoping to get back into the studio to release some tracks for next year. So I'm working on that at the moment. So which is good. So I'm really excited to get back into the studio, to be honest. You were talking about hobbies, actually. I actually enjoy doing interior design, and I actually graduated as an interior designer this year. So that is something that I do on the side. I forgot to mention, I was like, what do I actually do? But yeah, that's something that I did do this year. I was quite proud of. But yeah, I'll be getting back into the studio to do some more stuff, which I'm excited about. So watch this space.
So if anyone needs their,
I can't stop looking at the sorry, I can't stop looking at your body, head, and it's really throwing me off.
I'm going to put you back up. I'll go.
Should I line myself up? Oh, then you can do it. I was going to line myself up onto it then, but
So, you've thrown me now.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's quite funny. Okay, so if both of you could go back and have a conversation with your 20-year-old selves, obviously only about 12 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's exactly. Yeah. What advice would you give yourself about the future, do you think? Edele, you can go first on that one.
Oh God, what advice would I give myself about the future?
Yeah, well, what would older Edele say to younger Edele? Like, don't date that Johnny Smith from down the road.
Oh God, there'd be loads of things, but I can't mention them online. We haven't got all day.
Let's stick with your chosen profession. What would be the best
I think I've always said, like, just don't give up. And I think if you was to sort of look back and if you sort of think, well, would you make any changes? I just don't think I would, because I think everything leads you to where you are now in your life. Yeah. So good, bad, whatever happens, I'm here now doing what I'm doing, and I'm really happy right now. It's not to say that all those years I've not gone through, times when I've thought, there's many times when I thought I'm going to give up DJing now because I'm not going anywhere with it, and it was, stuff like that. I may be feeling a bit like that, but, I'm in a great place now. And I think if I wouldn't change anything, because I think if I just wouldn't be here now, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I think everything leads you to where you are.
Your life comes in peaks and troughs, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Lots of ups and downs, and it's just
got to ride the wave, and you are what you learn. So
everything. Everything makes you well.
What about for you?
Well, the first thing that popped into my head when you said it was I would go back and I would teach myself Logic or Cubase or whatever it was that I was trying to do back then, so that I could have started production a bit earlier. That'd be it, really. But
that was the early
things to work out how they worked out.
Logic was one of the first things, wasn't it, that people were using to create music on.
Yeah. Well, I think Cubase was Cubase first.
Cubase.
You're the DJ. I'm not my area of expertise. So before we wrap up, and I'd like to thank everyone for the comments in the chat. We got one other question here.
I can't see the comments. Is this all the comments?
There's loads. There's loads of comments. I just put them up.
I didn't see any of these comments.
Oh.
Andrew Kitson says, "Great show, Lance. Thank you." Question: We've seen a lot of club event revivals over the years. If Edele and Charmin could bring back one other event from years gone by,
oh my god,
Hacienda reunion maybe. Which would it be? Yeah.
Okay.
Which would it be?
Who goes first?
Well, I actually did speak to the Pussycat Club crew. I spoke to the lady that ran it, Jan, and hello, Wormy Spoons. I spoke to the lady that ran Pussycat Club when I was playing there to see if they would do a revival, because I'd love that, but I don't think it's going to happen. So,
right.
But yeah.
Well, maybe if you both offered to do it, that could be a good double act.
Yeah.
Then you got a story there. Okay. So what have you both got? What have you both got coming up? Edele, what have you got coming up? I know because you're at Peach Goes Hard, aren't you?
I've got Trance in Maidstone this Saturday when me and Chris are going back to back, which is going to be great. That's it's a free party as well if anyone wants to come. And
I saw that.
Yeah,
it's annoyingly on the same day as my annual Christmas movie quiz, which is very frustrating. I'm trying to work out if I could get there.
It's a bit of a mission for you because it is
a bit.
Yeah.
I'd be pushing it. I'd be pushing it. But that's in Maidstone coming Saturday.
Yeah, which is going to be fun. That'd be great.
It's a free event. It's a great lineup for a free event. I mean,
yeah, it's going to be a good
fantastic.
one.
It is on Eventbrite. Weirdly, but just check it out. Just put in, if you go into Google and just put Trance event Maidstone, it will come up. 30th of November. There's a page for it here, which I'll just show you guys. So that, and then you've got a couple of other events that you're doing before the end of the year, I think.
Yeah, I've got Peach Goes Hard, which is what I run with Chris. That's going to be in December. So that's another good lineup. And then I've got Vinyl Euphoria, and also I've got one more. What one have I got?
Vinyl Euphoria is at Basing House on
the other one. Yeah, and then I've got Harder Faster, which is the end of December. So busy December.
Right, yeah. Peach Goes Hard is on the 21st, I think, of December.
Yeah, at E1, which is going to be great. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
I've never been to that club.
Oh, no, it's the first time I'm playing there. So we did usually have it at Lower Third, but we thought we'd try somewhere new this time. So we've heard good things.
Lower Third does not have a lot of space.
No, it doesn't. And I think we just wanted to try somewhere new with a bit more space, basically. So we're going to check it out.
It's an okay venue if you're expecting sort of 200 to 250 people. If you're looking at 300-400 plus, that gets very uncomfortable.
It gets very hot as well in there. It's very hot.
Yeah, that's kind of where.
So let's see. Fingers crossed. This is a great venue, and we're gonna probably have them go there going forward. So yeah, let's see.
I'll be down there at the front with my tablet, putting up the playlist for you. But no, I won't be doing that. What about your plans for the new year, Edele?
For New Year, I'm actually I'm not DJing this New Year. Last year I was DJing, but this year I'm actually not, which I'm actually looking forward to having a nice one with my friends and family, just, local here. So, which would be lovely.
That would be nice. What about you, Charmaine? Do you ever do a New Year's gig? And have you got any gigs coming up this year that you want to plug?
I've got one coming up in a couple of weeks. This Dance for Peace, which they're doing. It's like a fundraising one for Medical Aid Palestine.
Oh, that's
so that's a good one. That's certainly local Brighton bits. I've got tracks coming out. I've got an EP on Clubhouse coming up in two weeks, I think, as well, which is really exciting. I've got another one out in January on 1980 recording. So yeah, I've got a few things in the works.
Well, send me any relevant links for all of that stuff. And what I'll do is, for anybody watching, if you watch this on catch up, all of the links should be there by now. They'll certainly be there by this time tomorrow. And what I'll do is I'll add them all in to the blurb below. Well, look, want to say to both of you, because I know you're not massive, either of you massive fans of doing interviews. So, and you're both quite nervous about it today. But that's what I thought, getting two of you on would be great. And it's also, the Outcast Creative is about supporting creative people. And how I do that is I get very high profile guests on, and then I get people that are just starting out. And to have people, two very talented people on who are at slightly different places in their careers, I think is also a great stream. But I'm here to support creative people. That is why the channel is here. That's why I started the channel. So please don't be afraid to send people my direction, because you're both likely to come across people in various creative fields. In fact, I'm going to invite Kuba on, the guy who shot the video.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah, I have already mentioned it to him, and I said, listen, man, you know, it's a great skill set. Let's get you on and let's show some of your videos, and that's what we do here. That's what we do.
Yeah, he's great, really talented.
People. Yeah, and I met his lovely girlfriend who's from Poland.
Yeah, Biesa, well.
Yeah, dancing about on stage with her big.
Yeah, she's great. They're just lovely, really lovely.
Yeah, Peach definitely has a certain type of people. I'll tell you somebody else who is coming on this channel for an interview, who Charmaine has seen and Edele certainly knows, and that is this lady.
He's a bit atmospheric.
Podium dancer Vicky Lee is coming on.
Oh my god, I love her.
This side of Christmas, I had a chat with her yesterday. Me and her got on like a house on fire immediately.
She's lovely. Oh my god, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
Somebody at my my wedding back in 2013, just over 10 years ago, when they stood up and did their speech, they said that you can often judge a person by the richness of the friends that they have around them, and that whole day was very much about the people that attended and ensuring that everybody had a really good time. And yeah, when that person said that in their speech, I was proper made up, and I can look at the people that are around Peach the same way. All of the people, all of the DJs that I've met, for example, when I've spoken to them about coming on here or just general chat, nobody talks to me like an arsehole, you know. Everybody is really nice. And to get a group of fellow creatives that all do similar things as a collective, which effectively is what Peach feels like to me, I think that's quite rare, and I think that's an exceptional gift. So everybody in that organization should be especially proud of the events that they've achieved, because hands down, you've given me some of the best nights of my life this year. Unforgettable moments. And like you said earlier, this is really about creating great memories, and I've got some fantastic ones, both of which involve both of you. So there you go.
That's really nice.
Yeah, so anybody who dances on the dance floor with me for like 3 hours is always going to be a good pal of mine, you know, Charmaine. So there we are, friends for life already. Listen, I want to thank you again for both coming on, and please know that now you've been on this channel is available to you for anything ever that you want to plug down the road. So you know, if when you have that album out, Edele or Charmaine, whatever, and you want to come back and talk about it and talk about, you know, all the difficulties that you went through to produce it, but the things that you can tell us that you learned, which will be useful to impart to other people about to start that same journey. Stuff like that is all really helpful. And it's really great for people to listen to your experiences and choices. Is there anything else you would like to say or plug, each of you, before we go and put the Outcast song on? We have a song for this channel, you know. Got our own song that we play out. Yeah. So,
just to say thanks, Lance, for having me on.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks to everyone that's watching, listening, and
yeah,
appreciate it
for tuning in.
Yeah, there's a few people from the solo ravers that have been in the chat, and also with the UV girls who I really like. Big shout out to the UV girls who I actually at Adele's, big point that way, at Adele's event, Trancevania. I met the UV girls. They're wicked. They've got a Facebook page. Do check it out. Old School Solo Ravers have also got a Facebook page. Do also check that out. We are going to be back at 10 o'clock with the Nielsen ratings at 10 o'clock. I've got 2 more industry interviews already booked for next week. They're already up on the channel. So yeah, join me at 10 o'clock where we're going to be talking about all the latest Netflix documentaries and things like that. But till then, here comes the song.
Where all the misfits and dreamers get innovative. It's film, TV, and theater in the mix. Industry interviews where ideas get their fix. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Interviews with fellow artists on the rise and reviews that might surprise. Films, TV shows from back in the day. You might just find a hidden gem today. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Filmmakers, comic book creators, stand up proud. Actors, musicians, board game designers, be loud. At Outcast Creative, amazing's the word. He even interviewed the legend, Gail Ann Hurd. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. So come along, take a chance. Join the Outcast, hang with Lance. Bring your vision, your art, your flair. At Outcast Creative, there's always room to share. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew.